Dog TV is with Jim Simpson at Freedom Fest, and Jim and I both ran for the same congressional seat back in 2020, and it's a pleasure to see him today. A brilliant man who's an author, has a few books out now, and also a gun business. So please tell us about the gun business.
Okay, great, thanks. Well, I started it last summer, shortly after the Supreme Court decided in the Bruin decision that Maryland and other states would no longer be a may issue state, but would become a shall issue state. And that opened the doors to people who were legitimately able to get their concealed carry permit. And I started a business called Old Guy with a Gun. And I'm a Maryland State Police and NRA certified pistol instructor. I'm also a security guard, and I've done many things in this space. And if people are interested in getting lessons, getting their concealed carry permit, getting their handgun qualification license, go to my website, which is simply the acronym for Old Guy with a Gun, OGWAG.com, and send me an email or give me a call, 424-425-4478, and I'll get you armed up.
Okay, and we're going to do an interview sometime soon about your books, and I'm handing you one of the books that you were kind enough to sign for me, and thank you very much. And please tell us about the books that you've written and the newest one and how people can get that book.
Okay, well, this book I wrote in 2021, and Glenn Beck said this book should be in every household in America, and it became an Amazon bestseller almost overnight. And I've just completed my next book, which is called Manufactured Crisis, The War to End America. And it describes in depth the many crises that the left in this country have deliberately created over 100 years to gradually take our country apart brick by brick until it is ultimately completely destroyed. And that effort was articulated by Vladimir Lenin, the very first leader of the Soviet Union in 1917. And he talked about creating as many crises as possible, and when they didn't exist, claim they exist, or if they did, make them worse, and on and on and on, over and over, until the capitalist country is totally destroyed. And since 1917, our enemies have considered America the #1 enemy country. No matter what we do, it doesn't matter. They are out to destroy us because they want one world government controlled by communists and by communism. And I go in great depth into the book about how that has occurred and is occurring, and what we have to do to work our way out of that existential crisis that we face today.
Since I've been presented with this opportunity here, I want to ask one more question.
Sure.
And the question is, I tell people that World War III, we're experiencing World War III right now, and do you agree with that? And if you do, why?
I absolutely agree that we are in World War III. The left in this country, which today totally owns the Democrat Party, you've seen what they've done. You've seen what they did in January 6th, which, as I described in an entire chapter, exactly how that entire thing was a setup to discredit President Trump and to jail as many of his supporters as possible, violating the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments to the Constitution in putting those people in jail without being charged, keeping them in jail, and preventing them from getting the legal aid that they needed to get out of jail. And many of them still languish in jail today. It's really communism in our faces right now. And that's just one of the many things that they have done and are doing. They're spending us to the point where our federal government will collapse of its own weight. They are creating a massive crisis at the border, and that is deliberate. They are allowing terrorists into this country. They've allowed in 30 military-age communist men come into this country, and as I point out in my book, there were already between 25 and 40,000 communist agents in this country in 2017. And those people are here to create chaos. And I fear that they may initiate some kind of hot war by attacking Americans in the run-up to the election, which will give the Democrats the pretext to suspend the election permanently. And so we are in a very dangerous situation right now. We are in World War III, and our only recourse is to beat them at the ballot box and to beat them with the truth. And that is the purpose of my book, to get this message out to the American people, as many as possible, so that we know how, where, when to vote, and that we can do whatever is necessary to save our great country. Because if our country collapses, and even the communists I don't think realize this, the entire world economy will collapse in ways that would make the Great Depression in the 1930s look like a walk in the park. So yes, we are in World War III right now, and we need to do that which we can legally do to save our country.
I totally agree. And January 6th, it's amazing how they get so many people to believe that it was the Republicans that were trying to overthrow the government when it was actually the Democrats.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been the Democrats for decades.
Thank you, Jim. Pleasure seeing you today, and look forward to interviewing you soon about your book a little bit more in depth.
Thanks so much, Scott, and good luck in your run for Congress. We need people like you in office.
I greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.